Are you recording? Oh, we're definitely recording. And I definitely regret this already. Hey guys, it's Mike with Become the Night. Welcome to another random rant. So you guys may be wondering, hey Mike, is this even remotely music related? And I would say yes, but only remotely. There have been a number of videos cropping up on more popular YouTube channels, like especially Philip DeFranco and H3H3, that have been talking about YouTube having their ads pulled and how this is the end of YouTube as we know it. Is this the end of YouTube? Probably not, but are things going to change? Absolutely they are. Unless YouTube can pull out something that is literally game-changing, many of the creators on this platform are going to find themselves in an extremely rough spot that they have not found themselves in since they tried starting up their small businesses. So anyway, let's break down the situation. According to some, but I'm not sure exactly what the situation is, because of the PewDiePie scandal and because of just a bunch of other things, really it was because of a Wall Street Journal article and Wall Street Journal investigation. It showed that there are several of their advertisers that are having their advertisements placed alongside some quote-unquote repugnant videos. Now, I'm sure a lot of them are actually repugnant, but a large number of them are also not repugnant at all. There are a number of advertisers who have pulled their ads from YouTube, which is where they make all of their revenue. And these guys are big money people. This is not small beans. So YouTube, in response to try and retain these advertisers, is trying to take some measures that many of us creators are not super comfortable with. They've recently come into controversy because of their restricted mode, which I'm not fully familiar with, but YouTube, just a heads up, I say the F word in most of my videos, and there are several videos where I say the F word on the regular that you have not restricted from restricted mode. You want to restrict my videos from restricted mode? By all frickin' means. I don't need children watching my videos. Even then, if children want to watch my videos, they're going to find a way to do it on your platform anyway, so good fucking luck. And then the other controversy involved with this is certain videos being demonetized. Now, we've had this happen before. We've had complaints from advertisers before on YouTube, and YouTube responded by demonetizing videos and not telling anyone. Then there was a whole thing a couple months ago where like, oh, they just started telling us, okay. But the reason they started telling us was for the appeal process to try and be like, no, wait, my video is good. You can put ads on it. It's okay. Whoever flagged this or whatever flagged this, if you're talking about machines, did it wrong. So now the issue is there are several videos that do not have the ability to appeal, and just tons of videos that are getting demonetized, period. Like, it's just, it's really not good news for YouTube, especially when I see some of the people that inspired me to pick up a microphone and a camera and actually do this and try and strike out to make this a way of making money. It's really discouraging. Now, H3H3 put up a video not too long ago basically saying this is the end of YouTube. It's all over. Maybe it will to an extent because only people who kiss the right ass will be able to make money off of this platform. I personally don't think that's the case, especially if YouTube keeps hosting such videos. And there are auxiliary websites like Patreon where you can still make money regardless of whether or not YouTube pays you. By the way, hey, please go support me on Patreon, because if there's one thing I know, I piss off a lot of people and I piss off the wrong people. So if you want me to keep making videos, Patreon's the place to be. As long as there's auxiliary sites like that where guys like me and guys like H3 and guys like Philip DeFranco can get funding regardless of view status, then there is still a hope for YouTube to be a place for everyone to voice what they want to voice. In its own way, YouTube kind of was the free speech app in video format, and now it's kind of not. And YouTube is a private entity. Well, they're a private entity owned by another entity. We'll get into that in a minute. And I respect the private entity to do what it needs to do in order to make money. But at the same time, you have a bunch of people who fled to your platform because they had a place to say what they wanted to say and needed to say. and now they are at risk of losing their livelihoods because of it, which is completely legal and completely understandable. I mean, when you get into this YouTube game, you have to know it's not going to be stable, it's not going to be forever. And if you don't know that, then why in the hell are you into the YouTube game, and why haven't you gotten a retirement plan together yet? But at the same time, I mean, YouTube is also about community. There's a large part of your community, YouTube, that is about speaking their mind in the moment. You are slowly but surely taking that away from us. All right, so I went on my little rant. I've gone on my idealist tirade. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of why I think this is happening. YouTube having their ads pulled is not simply a, oh, you did the worst thing ever, and oh, we cannot be seen with you. If we take a look at the guys that are pulling ads, it's like PepsiCo, it's Verizon, it's AT&T, which we'll get into Verizon and AT&T in a minute. It's Johnson & Johnson. It's a bunch of the big guys who already have tons of stake in the communications game. Speaking of which, let's talk about communications for a second. I majored in communications media in college, and originally I thought like, whatever, as long as it gets me closer to making music for a living and recording things myself, I'm totally cool with it. But then you really start to understand the value of communication and what that entails in the most basic sense of writing, hand signs, facial expressions, then to the level of speech, and then to the level of music, and then pictures, television. Communication is literally the delivery of one piece of communication from one source to another. And God willing, that other source interpreted that piece of information correctly as it was conveyed. Not going to get too much deeper into it because I could do an entire Music Snob video on communications and media. But needless to say, if you look at the number of things in our daily lives that require communication, including that phone, including this microphone, including this computer, including especially the internet that I'm using to upload this video, especially the YouTube host that I am using to host this video, it is by far integral. And well before the advent of the telephone, it was still very integral. Living in America for as long as I have and seeing the number of people complaining about large corporations, like, I get it. I definitely do. One of the group of corporations that kind of escapes a lot of the criticism are the communications industries. You hear about Comcast catching a lot of shit. You hear about some of the big, I don't even know how many there are anymore. There were big six when I was in school. There was a big six, and now it's gotten so mixed up. I don't even know if there's 5, 4, or even 2 at this point. But these communication multimedia conglomerates make up a extremely large portion of the United States GDP. And they're all competing against one another. I mean, you would be a fool to think that any of these guys really consider each other friends. If anything, they consider each other mutual benefactors of screwing someone else over. So yes, there is the opportunity to work with each other and help further each other, but in the end game, they want to buy each other. They want what each other has. Competitors in the market have strengths and weaknesses, and they want each other's strengths, and they want to exploit each other's weaknesses. I know it seems like I've been rambling for a while, but this is where I bring it back to home. So YouTube is seeing a bunch of advertisers drop off. Who was the originator of this story? That would be the Wall Street Journal. Who owns the Wall Street Journal? Who indeed owns the Wall Street Journal? Oh, that would be News Corp. News Corp is one of the conglomerates that I mentioned earlier in the video. They also own Fox, which is part of Fox News, which makes tons of movies and television shows, and is in direct competition with YouTube in all of them. And wait, who pulled advertisements from YouTube? Oh, it was AT&T and Verizon Communications. Oh, that's kind of crazy. Why are both of the communications companies that you know of that provide you cell phone service here in the States, why are they pulling out? Especially since they're competitors, right? They're trying to compete for your business to make sure that one wins out over the other, right? Wait a second. Both of these companies are owned by the same parent company, Bell Communications. This is the point at which you have to think to yourself, am I being lied to? The answer's friggin' yes. Yes, we're all being lied to. And I mean, to say that these guys are not in competition with one another is crazy. And I'm serious. I mean, especially when you look at Google, or more specifically Alphabet, which is the parent company. Alphabet is supposed to be an acronym. G is for Google. Y is for YouTube. A is for Alphabet. And B is for a better fucking acronym, please. But it's completely understandable why all of these other media companies, or I should say communications companies, are trying to compete with Alphabet. Alphabet has been trying to delve into several markets that 10 years ago people would have thought unthinkable. They're diving into virtual reality. They're diving into the regular cable and internet market, which nobody saw coming 5 years ago. They're already stealing away television views en masse. In the 18 to 34-year-old demographic, they are rocking it. They by far are the most viewed. I mean, they're competing with Comcast. Comcast is apparently the second largest pay TV company after AT&T? Who the hell does AT&T own that they're bigger than Comcast for pay TV? All right, so wait. So who owns Comcast? Because it looks like it's NBC, or does Comcast own NBC? Who owns Comcast? Liberty Media owns Comcast? Who the hell is Liberty Media? Liberty Media Corporation owns interests in a broad range of media, communications, and entertainment businesses. Thanks. Those interests are attributed to 3 tracking stock groups: the Liberty Sirius XM Group, the Braves Group, and the Formula One Group. Hold up a second. So we got the Braves, which is a baseball team, I think. The Formula One Group, which is racing. And then Sirius XM bought freaking Comcast? A radio station bought a cable provider, like the largest cable provider in the United States? What the hell is going on? I just named all these names. This is all freaking Liberty Media Group. Did you know the name? I certainly frickin' didn't before researching this video. Now, to conclude all of this, which is why I put it in a random rant, there is a much larger game going on. As I've just tried to demonstrate, these media conglomerates are all fighting each other, and whether or not they're going to admit it, whether or not anyone's going to admit it, they all are. At the end of the day, they are all competing for our method of communication. But more specifically, most of them are competing for our method of receiving a message. As far as receiving a message goes, YouTube has these guys beat real good, especially out into the future. When you get the 18 to 34 demographic locked in, they're most likely going to be customers for a long time. Look at broadcast television and cable. So let's look at this from a strategic standpoint. Alphabet has their fingers in a lot of different things. They have their hands in YouTube, they have their hands in Google, which they're by far the #1 search engine, and just all around platform working online. They have their fingers in VR, which is new territory for everyone, and they seem to be, I wouldn't necessarily say in the lead, but pushing it pretty hard. And they have their fingers in AI, which I read somewhere that they're actually trying to own AI as its own conglomerate, like own artificial intelligence as a whole, which is kind of their whole thing with having the Google search engine. It's a little tough to convey without going into further detail, which I don't have in front of me. I apologize. So of course their competitors are going to be looking for weaknesses and chinks in their armor. The Wall Street Journal, who's owned by News Corp, said, "Oh, hey, They have ads of people that are reputable next to videos of Osama bin Laden decapitating people. Not literally, but you know what I'm saying. So we're going to write an article about how YouTube is basically turning its advertisers into advertisers for terrible things. And that in turn makes an opening because now YouTube/Google's reputation is going to be damaged because of this. Hey, so if you're wondering why we just cut away from the video, I had a really quick update to do. I was about to say that YouTube does about $10 billion in profit and they're definitely profitable. That is incorrect. I was about to misconstrue the words profit and revenue. According to the latest articles I could find, YouTube does between $9 and $10 billion in revenue. And from other insider information, it currently breaks about even. If you Google, does YouTube make a profit, most of the articles you're going to find are from 2015, which were reporting from 2014 statistics at which YouTube was still operating at a loss. That has recently changed in the last 2 years, and that is something that is very new for YouTube. One of the big reasons why they are just breaking even is because they are investing so much into the future, and that's actually what their CEO, Susan whatever, says. She says currently they're in investment mode and profitability has no timetable. When your parent company is frickin' Daddy Warbucks, yeah, profitability has no timetable. Now, if you go to Statistic Brain or Statistical Brain, whatever that research institute is called, it's not trustworthy. I wouldn't put any credence into anything they have on that website. A lot of the data that they have is old and sometimes it's just flat out wrong. So yeah, YouTube generates about $10 billion in revenue, but they invest all of that money back into other projects, so they're technically not profitable. So by cutting into YouTube's ad revenue, by having guys like Verizon and AT&T, which let's just call them by their real name, Bell. You can just call yourself Bell, AT&T, and Verizon. You own most of the cell phone coverage throughout the United States, and I would imagine probably most of the world as well. Those guys see an opportunity, they pull out their advertising, so they're hitting Google in another way. I would not be surprised if in the coming weeks, if this trend of advertisers pulling out keeps happening to YouTube and this really becomes a serious problem. If you see Comcast try to take advantage of the situation, or more specifically, Liberty Media, I'm honestly surprised they have not taken advantage of it yet, but there is also advantage in not getting involved in conflict. So to bring this back down to the most basic level, is this going to wreck YouTube creators? Not totally. These companies tend to work out a deal to make sure everyone stays alive. It's just the order in which who is stronger and how much stronger they are shifts a little bit. This is the most delicate and most dangerous game of chess. People talk shit on Standard Oil. I mean, the communications companies, Standard Oil ain't got shit on any of the communications conglomerates we have today. It's a true cartel. That's why YouTube won't go down, because all of these companies see value in YouTube, and YouTube will be purchased and repurposed before it goes down. Will there be advertising issues? Absolutely, but they'll still find a way to make it profitable. Will there be little guys like me and other people around the size of my channel, or maybe even a little larger, who see some very serious problems with their business model? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the big YouTubers will survive. The people who were smart enough to get a Patreon like me will survive, hopefully. And YouTube will live on. Just the brand recognition itself is worth more to these guys than killing YouTube. The satisfaction of killing YouTube to its competitors is not nearly worth owning YouTube. That is the ultimate fuck you for these guys. So no, YouTube might be changing, but it's definitely not over. And if H3H3 is really trying to make that claim that YouTube is over and that maybe their channel is over, I'm thinking to myself, guys, why did you get rid of your Patreon account? That was literally your safe investment to guarantee that you can keep making videos no matter what happens on YouTube. But this is not me trying to do a criticism of H3H3. I love their channel. Great shit on there. But guys, if you're really concerned about your livelihood on YouTube, why didn't you have a contingency plan? It's freaking YouTube. Nobody has a guaranteed career on this platform, and if you think you do, you need to reevaluate your situation. YouTube is not a place to retire from, it's a place to launch yourself from. You can get launched, you can make lots of money, and you can gain lots of knowledge and make great connections. But if you expect to spend an entire career's worth of time on YouTube, you are insane. All right, this rant is over. I've done too much already. Guys, I apologize if this was really a rant, because holy shit, I went off in so many different directions. But this is part of what I'm trying to fight with my YouTube channel. It's not just about going against those music labels. Every one of those music labels is owned by a bigger conglomerate. None of them are independent, at least as far as the big ones go. They are all of the big music labels, the big music conglomerates are all a fraction of these bigger communications conglomerates. They are literally a fraction. And beating the old media guard into submission is a large part of why I want to be at the forefront of this fight. And even the new guard who is helping me out, like Alphabet. Shit, I'm still ranting. All right, I'm done. It's over. If you guys stuck through it, you are true fans. Love you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Rock on!